Hello, I'm Chalen Jackson with the Key Accounts team here at Senior Marketing Specialist, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about something that you may have been hearing about a little bit from carriers, from us hopefully, from other folks in the industry, and it goes by a couple different names. Probably you're familiar with something called the smoothing provision that's happening to Medicare Part D drug plans this fall for 2025. And I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So you probably heard it called smoothing. You may have heard the official program name, the Medicare Prescription Payment Program, or M3P. That's what you'll probably start seeing on carrier documents and enrollment kits, explanation of benefits, things like that going forward. So let's talk about what it is. Part of the Inflation Reduction Act. So this gargantuan bill passed back in 2022 to stimulate the American economy had huge impacts to the Part D program in an effort to lower drug costs for Medicare beneficiaries. We've seen things phase in over the past couple years, like $35 insulin, $0 vaccines, Medicare negotiating drug prices, and then, of course, in 2025, the $2,000 max out of pocket on all drug plans. Another part of this is this smoothing or payment program provision. The idea behind this is to allow beneficiaries to spread their costs over the course of the year for high cost drugs. The perfect ideal scenario is, say someone has cancer, they're on a really expensive oral chemo drug that's $20,000 a fill. January, they have to go to the pharmacy, pick this up. They're going to hit their $2,000 max out of pocket in January. That can still be a big bill for someone to come up with. They've got to come up with $2,000 all of a sudden. After that, they're free and clear. The smoothing provision or the payment program is going to allow them to opt in, where they will pay nothing at the pharmacy counter. The pharmacy will adjudicate that claim over to the carrier, and then the carrier will bill the client in monthly installments. So that $2,000 drug in January is now $167.67 for 12 months through the year. So it does smooth out that benefit for some people and make it easier to budget for those high-cost drugs. Now, who's eligible for this program? Any Medicare beneficiary. It is not a good fit for all Medicare beneficiaries. Someone really needs to be on those high-cost drugs for this program to make sense, but there are some triggers in place. Education on this is all going to be on agents. It's going to be on you all. Agents, pharmacists, carriers are putting out resources for this. We're working on some great resources for you in our AEP toolkit, but it's going to be on you to educate. Pharmacies are going to be required to notify participants of this program and of their eligibility for it if they have one prescription that is more than $600 per fill. So if they're on a particularly expensive med that's over $600 a month, they're going to walk into the pharmacy. Pharmacist is going to say, hey, there's a way that you can spread these payments out over the next 12 months or over the rest of the year. It is based on the plan year. So it can be confusing for beneficiaries because that monthly payment can change as they continue to have claims throughout the year, and they're opting into the program as a whole, not just on a single prescription. Pick one, pick another. It'd be all their prescriptions. So that's the eligibility for it. The big question I keep getting asked is, what about bad debt? What about if someone doesn't pay those bills, or if they don't pay the carrier back? Can they be disenrolled from their plan? There's some good news and bad news. As far as debt collection goes, if someone fails to make payments on their prescription payment program, the carriers have a couple different things they can do. After the required grace period of 2 months and some notifications, they can remove them from the prescription payment program, meaning they'll have to go back to paying their normal copays at the pharmacy counter. They can also prevent them from enrolling in the prescription payment program the following year if they remain in a plan with the same carrier. What they cannot do is disenroll them from their Part D plan. As long as the beneficiary continues paying their premiums, they cannot be disenrolled from their Part D plan for failure to pay these monthly amounts for the prescriptions under the payment program. Now, carriers can use normal debt collection techniques as long as they are following Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and Fair Credit Reporting Act standards. They can use all of the normal means to collect on any of these debts. and carrying through, of course, to future plan years if necessary. But January 1st, or whenever someone makes a plan change, the clock kind of restarts and creates a separate billing issue. So let's talk about costs. Obviously, this is going to change costs for carriers. Huge administrative cost, huge cost to what they have to do. Also to pharmacies. Pharmacies are now going to have to wait for carriers to adjudicate these claims, bill the client. They're going to have to wait for the carrier then to pay that out-of-pocket cost that the beneficiary is normally handing over at the pharmacy counter, and instead wait for the carrier to do that. There are some safeguards, some standards built into the program for how long a carrier has to be able to make those payments to the pharmacy, but you can still expect a little bit of tension and confusion this year as we open it for the first time. Also, don't underestimate how confused clients might be surrounding those monthly amounts that may change as they continue to add more claims into the program. If it becomes too much or they just seem overly confused, they can voluntarily disenroll from the payment program and go back to paying their monthly payments at the pharmacy counter when they get those prescriptions filled. But definitely keep an eye out for beneficiaries who may want to utilize this program. No financing fees, no charges are allowed by the carriers in this situation, so there should be no additional cost above the $2,000 max out of pocket for a beneficiary to use this program, with the exception that if a carrier has a fee that they are not the one charging that is unavoidable. For example, if someone wants to pay that with a credit card and there's a credit card processing fee assessed by a processing company, those types of fees are still permitted if they're unavoidable. So what do we need to know? Going into AEP, what do we need to be ready to do to help our clients? We need to be educated. We need to work with not just our clients, but also our networking partners, our pharmacies, our doctors, anyone that we work with for referrals or for resources. Make sure that they are aware of this option. Make sure that they understand the implications and how clients can enroll and disenroll, how they can set up those payment plans with the carrier. It's going to be a huge opportunity for certain clients that maybe hit their max out of pocket this year or last year to spread those payments out a little more evenly, even under this new $2,000 max out-of-pocket model, and a great opportunity for you as an agent to provide a huge value add to these clients in what is likely to be the most tumultuous year for Part D that we have experienced since the creation of the Part D program. So as always, if you have any additional questions or want to know how to implement the smoothing provision or payment program into your marketing strategy or how you reach out to your clients this AEP, reach out to the team here at Senior Marketing Specialist and we'll be happy to lend a hand.